Hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today I wanted to talk about a problem that I had with the Lee 420 lead melting pot. Alright, I had just a major malfunction of some sort, and it's the weekend, so I haven't called Lee about the problem just to find out, what they say and what they think should be done about it, or was it my fault, or was it some type of a short or a malfunction of some sort in the pot. But I know that it's a pretty good size safety issue, so I thought that I didn't want to wait, and I wanted to just go ahead and do this video. But at the same time, I want to make it really clear that this is not me putting down Lee products, not at all. As a matter of fact, I think very highly of the Lee products. I use a lot of them. In many cases, they exceed the quality of other products on the market. I'm a big advocate for Lee products. I love them. So let me just get that straight right out of the gate. But this is a safety issue, a malfunction of some sort. Like I said, I have not talked to Lee. On the next following business day, I'll call them as soon as possible, and I will immediately do a follow-up video and an update on exactly how this plays out, just so I can let everybody know. I just wanted to get that out of the way. No blight on Lee. Any product that you buy can have serious issues, malfunctions, shorts, whatever it is, at any time, and I've never heard of this problem before. But I was, and part of this, I will say, it could very well be, an issue that I caused myself. Now, this pot malfunctioned while I was melting and casting zinc. All right, so I was not using it as it was intended to begin with. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you see the pot real close up, and then we'll talk about all the buts, ifs, and maybes. This is what happened. Now, I bought this pot brand new. This was the second time I turned this pot on when this malfunction occurred. I bought it brand new just to use separately to do my zinc experiments with, and you can see inside of the pot is still a layer of zinc in there. There's a hole in the very bottom of the pot over here. I don't really need to point that out. You can see it's a big old hole. I'll put my finger near it where you can see the size of it. But it's a big old hole. I was casting. I'd stopped casting for a minute, walked across the room, and walked back to start casting again, and the bottom fell out, and it just poured right out of that hole, right straight through the aluminum base. You see the hole right there, right straight through the base onto this big wood block that I had my pot sitting on right here. And I mean, it blew through it like a torch. I have no idea, why that could happen, how that could happen. This pot right here is a steel liner. Now it's very thin. I don't know what kind of steel it is, but it's said to be steel. So I don't know how zinc at the temperature that this pot can operate could melt that. Nor do I know how it could blow through the steel pot lining that the metals are in, and then blow through the aluminum housing and straight through the aluminum base out the bottom. It almost looks like someone shot it. I did not shoot it, I promise. This is the aluminum base, so there's a close-up of what we're talking about. Now I was running it on high. So now when all else fails, you pull out the instructions, right? We don't read these until we have a problem. So I pulled this out and I was like, well, let's take a look. And so I look at the directions here, where this says, the markings, from 2 to 9 here, are reference numbers and don't indicate temperature. The high setting will stabilize at approximately 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and the low about 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so I already knew ahead of time that this pot was capable of producing 900 degrees Fahrenheit, and I think zinc melts at 787 degrees, if I'm not mistaken. 787 degrees, so I'm like, okay, between 787 and 9, that gives me a little bit of a spread to maybe be able to function, some castings with zinc, which in fact it did. Not real well, but I managed with it just fine. So anyway, and then I was reading on, and then it says, I'm doing this, I'm just making sure I'm covering my bases here, because this is not me dogging out the Lee pot and saying I won't never buy one again. We have used these things for years. I've never heard of this thing happening. I have used them, no problems. I love them. They're very inexpensive. They work very well. No problem. Just with that said, right, so I was reading on, and it says right here, it says the following metals cannot be melted in this pot: gold, silver, zinc, copper, pewter, aluminum, or aluminium, as some folks might say. But right there it said zinc. So, but it says the following metals cannot be melted. So I'm assuming that they're saying they cannot be because the temperature just don't get high enough to practically function, melting these alloys at that temperature. But that's my translation of it. I don't know what magic there could be, to cause, the zinc to melt the pot. I have no idea about that. But we'll clear all that up a little bit later in my update video. So anyway, so this thing blows through, metal, aluminum housing, aluminum base. I mean, I was really shocked and surprised, to be honest with you. I don't know how. The only thing I can think of is, if this thing only goes to 900 degrees or so, that's nowhere near the temperature needed to blow a hole in a steel pot lining or whatever it is. You know, I know it's thin, but you know, the material, it's not possible for it to melt at the temperatures that this pot can operate. So the only thing it leads me to believe is that something had to have malfunctioned. I don't know if you know, if there's you know, part of an element or something that happened that shorted right here, and it just, you know, arced and blew a hole in the bottom of the pot. I have no idea. You know, I'm hoping that that's, you know, maybe what it was, that something that malfunctioned and it arced, and you know, it caused a very high temperature spark or something inside and just blew a hole, you know, in it because of the temperature of the arc or spark or fire that create. I don't know. I'm really hoping that that's what it is, but I'll get to the bottom of all that later. I just wanted to do a quick video, and I know that folks are well. The next thing I wanted to say is, you know, I don't know if there's a problem, you know, running this on high for any extended periods of time. Normally when we melt our zinc, you know, I mean our lead, you know, we run the pot on high, get everything melted down good, and then, you know, we turn it back down. We turn it down to, you know, middle of the road or something like that. You know, whatever it is that you guys are running. You know, large or small molds or whatever temperatures you like, and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I still don't know why, you know, it would have, you know, melted all of this. But one thing that I've learned from it, that I'll probably do different, you know, I mean, if something like this is possible to happen, I would imagine it's possible to happen with anything that you know, that melts any kind of metals at higher temperatures. One thing that I've kind of vowed to do is when I'm using my pot, I'm gonna have a complete pan underneath it. You know, a steel pan that could, you know, potentially catch, you know, a whole pot full of of lead. I mean, it's something I've thought about in the past to start with. And another thing that it indicates is, and I don't need to read the instructions to know this. I'm 100% sure it's in the Lee, you know, safety instructions. You know, is you don't ever leave your pot unattended. If I would have left that pot unattended, that metal would have been hot enough to catch everything on fire. Really, just. And I'm not throwing anything out to scare anybody, but you don't leave your pot unattended. You know, it's a pretty high temperature. It could all leak out, you know, or whatever. You guys know that. But that's one of the things that I decided I'm gonna have me a tray under it from now on. You know, a steel tray and that kind of thing. But I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. You know, I'll talk to Lee. For God's sake, I'm just don't even think that I'm putting down Lee products. Seriously, this is some kind of malfunction of some sort, and you know, I'm a little freaked out that it happened to me. These kind of things can happen to anything mechanical, you know, and you know, that's what had happened, and I just thought I better get on here and talk about it. A lot of folks, maybe it's something to do with the zinc. A lot of folks are starting to play around with this zinc a little bit. Got the zinc bug kind of going. But you know, I know that these pots are intended for lead. I used it for zinc. The instructions does say, you know, well. I'll tell you again exactly what it says. The following metals cannot be melted in this pot. In bold, cannot. Gold, silver, zinc, copper, pewter, aluminum. But like I said, you guys can translate that how you want. I mean, to me, it just means that the pot don't get hot enough, but obviously it does, you know, at 900 degrees if the melting temperature is 787 for zinc. Alrighty, YouTube, I just wanted to throw that out there. Next business day following this video, I'll get a hold of Lee and we'll talk about this. You know, they can look at the video if they want, and they'll see the pot. You know, there's not a whole lot. I mean, if it'll burn through, you know, a hole through the aluminum base, through this aluminum housing, and the steel pot, something's wrong. I can't imagine it pertaining to the metals that were in it, but let's see what they have to say. And YouTube, I'm going to put an update and attach it to this video immediately after getting a response and figuring out what this was that happened. But I wanted to put this out there, pretty big safety issue, and you know, it kind of alerts us to, you know, doing things more safely, putting pans underneath our pots, and you know, not leaving our pots unattended, because that could be, you know, some serious consequences for doing things like that. Anyway, YouTube, not a video to freak you out about Lee products or scare you in any kind of way. Just let you know what happened to me. I'll get to the bottom of it, update you, and I will see you in the next video.